it is interesting how there's certain fields where the difference between, like you said, just kind of your average Joe or Jane and the great one, like, is just night and day different. And it is one of those, there's certain fields where that difference isn't quite as noticeable and you can kind of go through, but that is definitely a field like that. Okay. So you made the shift.
Well,
Now you've been doing this.
hold on. Let me
Yeah.
jump
Well,
back because you're right, and I think it's really important. If anybody's listening to this and thinking, what should I be doing? I think it's much more important now than it was, back in the 1980s
yes.
and 90s, because the
Yeah.
competition between individuals and what they can do is so much more intense and so much more global now. I
Yes.
believe that if you want to make a real success of things, it's best to be the best you can be in your niche in the world, literally in the world. Okay, so just find that niche and make yourself the best at it. Because if you're not, you'll be number two, number three, number four, whatever. But the people who aren't number one have their work commoditized. And that means decisions are made on basis of price rather than quality. So I'd firstly define for me, it's a very narrow niche. I really understand about sentiment in L&D globally, okay? Nobody else does. Nobody else has got 11 years of data. Okay, great. So that gives me a niche. It could be anything, but if you have that niche,
Yeah.
go for it. If not, then I'd recommend finding one. But I do think over time, if you're conscious about it, you will find that niche. I'd encourage people to strive to find their niche.
I would agree with you on that. And I think what I've observed over the past, probably, I mean, really, AI has accelerated this
Yeah,
exponentially,
yeah,
for sure. It was building up even before this. I think that would have been good advice even 10, 15 years ago. But especially in the past couple years, I would say that advice is even more wise than it has been in the past. Because to your point, if you're just kind of clunking along doing it, it is going to be hard to differentiate yourself and it is going to be hard to thrive in the age where AI can do a lot of things mediocre. And so if you're kind of mediocre in it,
absolutely.
i-
And it's not
you're
just
not only
AI,
competing against other people, not only are you competing against other people, but now you're competing against other people with machines and machines themselves.
which makes it doubly hard. And look, over my shoulder, you've
Yeah.
got this globe. Now that's people say, "Oh, that's a nice thing," right? Like I bought it in an antique shop, but I didn't. This globe was bought by my mother. I'm the fourth of four children. When she had me, the doctor said you can't have any more children because I was a difficult child, and so she took her maternity clothes. She sold all her maternity clothes and stuff, and with the money, she bought that globe as a sort of thing for all of the kids to look at as they were growing up. So this is the world as it was in 1963, the year of my birth. And it's a dramatic and constant reminder to me of how much the world changed because I look at it quite regularly and I see there are countries on there which obviously geographically they exist, but the names don't exist anymore. The names have
Yeah.
changed and things have shifted a great deal. We go from year to year, we don't think about it very much, but over that period, you look at it, there's a lot of change going on. And I think about what you're saying in terms of competition between people, competition with AI, and also globalization. I think about Ashwin Rahman, who was a kid. This is a few years ago now, 2 or 3 years ago. 18 years old. He was working. He had a like a part-time job in his home in Bangalore in India. Right. His part-time job wasn't delivering a newspaper. His part-time job was working as a soccer analyst for a Scottish football team, Dundee United. Now, how bizarre is that, right? Dundee United didn't go down the road and find somebody they found somebody in India. Why? Because A, he was very good, and B, he was cheap, right? He's a kid,
Right.
he's living at home, he's super smart, and he will do all this at a much more competitive rate than somebody at the University of St Andrews, just down the road, who would
Okay.
probably be very good, but the competition's there. So again, individually you're facing a lot of competition. And actually, although people might be saying, hang on, I've tuned into this to hear about the global sentiment survey and find about trends internationally. Actually, these are all very pertinent
These
trends
are.
to what we're talking about.